All right, you guys, as you can see from the thumbnail, have been asking about, while doors are apart, lubricating and maintaining the inside of your square body truck doors. Half the time I get over here, I'm either on the phone, well, 90% of the time I'm on the phone over here while my uncle is working on these, and I can't tell you how many hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of these doors we've had apart over time. Matter of fact, he uses about a can of WD-40 a day sometimes, and before he came to work here for me, a can would last him years probably. So, but lubrication on this stuff is incredibly key, and the doors don't come apart very often. So we take time to take them apart. Sometimes we open up a can of worms by doing that, but typically the door lock doesn't work, the key doesn't match, something is always a problem. So here's a quick rundown of basically our take on it. Others could say they want to do something differently or how they want to do things differently, but he's got it down to a pretty good science. So when we take them apart, usually this here is deteriorated as well as this here. So that's the time to replace it. So you can see he's got the fresh stuff here. I just sent him out on a little bit of a mission on some equipment we just bought. He had to put some batteries in it. But this stuff is fragile, guys. Remember that. This stuff is sometimes 50 years old. So everything you can do to keep things in place, like this here, may seem stupid, but instead of removing the door panel away and having to mess with these wires, which still even have the factory little holder on there, the better. So you could unhook this, you could unplug that. You're working with some brittle stuff. You're liable to break a wire. When he's in there fixing things, he's fixing broken wires, where other people have gotten in here like a freaking monkey and tore things apart. So also when you pull one apart, you can appreciate things like this little gasket still being here, these clips being here, a lot of other things, like it used to have a piece of paper that ran across here to keep some wind noise down. But these door panels, factory, are non-replaceable. Like you can buy aftermarket junk, but you can't buy the original again. If you look at the other side over there, you can see how nice and crisp that door panel is with all of its trim. This is a high trim level truck, so there's a power window motor in here and there's a power lock actuator in here. But back to what you guys asked about. So in the window tracks here, super important. Now these are coming apart and they're old. He'll make a determination whether he replaces them or not at this point. But you got felt here and you got felt all the way around. Well, that felt is where the window runs. Lithium, excuse me, I knew I was gonna screw it up. I should have had him here to do this. Pause it. Silicone spray in here. Knew I was gonna get all that jumbled up. Silicone spray in here, and again, this goes back to the days when we sold vans. Nothing new with that. Silicone spray does not make this stuff swell. It makes it slick, it lubricates it well, it makes the window work better. The window motors for these trucks are crap. They literally are crap. We've let the smoke out of them, we call it, literally by putting them up in nice fresh trim, because the trim's so tight, it burns the window motor out. So you guys that have square bodies know they're no race car window motors. They just don't work well. But silicone spray helps this a tremendous amount. Take it, he doesn't have it laying out. He did leave a couple things here for me, but literally take it, run it through here, hit it right there, because it will keep it nice and basically lubricated. I guess it won't break down as much. And down the sides, if you have the door part, go ahead and get down in here, and over here you can actually get in here. Hit that track. It's going to run in the floor. We just moved this truck. There's his stain for today. I showed you guys yesterday when he was doing the Suburban, the stain. While the WD-40's out, you want to hit everything you can in here, all your moving parts. There's a couple of different wheels. There's a couple of different pieces that move in the regulator. You want to lube all that stuff. Again, it's going to run out. You can literally see it running out here. You want to lubricate your latch. You want to lubricate the inside and the outside of the latch right there. Once again, you can do the outside, but you can't do the inside while the door panel's on. Then he will take lithium grease, wheel bearing grease. It really doesn't matter. You don't want something super duper thick. And take this and actually puts it on his finger, and he works it around the pivot points. Those pivot points have never had any lubrication or grease, and they are the part that's moving. The more you can allow things to move smoothly and lubricated, the better this stuff is going to work. Again, it's never going to work perfectly, because it never did. There's a little spot in here. You can see some stuff there where it was on and, got on things. But the more you can get to those spots and put it on there, the better. And again, the WD-40, a lot of people use it in the window track. it makes it swell, just in our experience. Maybe it's because of our climate, I don't know. Not a good idea. We used to have Ford Aerostar vans and Chevrolet Astro vans that people would come in from a test drive and say, I want to buy it, but the window doesn't work. And what would happen is the window would slightly start to, they had those weird aerodynamic, back in the day, aerodynamic frames and shapes to their glass. And when they started coming down, they would cock. They were cocking in there because of the fact that it was freezing up. We could go out there with lithium, silicon spray and lubricate those tracks, and they would be butter. But it would sit on the lot, you know, they'd get dirty, they'd get dusty, they'd get polleny like this time of the year, they'd get dry. You have to do it. Once they're sitting at home in your regular driveway and not in a commercial application or sitting in your garage, even better, that silicone spray will last a long time, and it makes it so smooth. And again, it would blow people's mind what it would do. While talking about those, and there's lots of others, I'm just using examples of what we've used and dealt with in the past. Door locks, passenger side. Whoever goes to the passenger side and unlocks the door with a key? Hardly anybody. You can use WD-40 or graphite in the door lock, work the key in and out multiple times, applicate it again, work it out, sometimes smear it on the key, doesn't matter. It'll work like glass. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it doesn't work. The key doesn't work in the passenger side. It's because it may have never ever been used, especially in vans, way more often when they started coming out with clickers, you know, a little door entry. Because then who walked up with a key? Nobody. They used the door clicker. So that door lock just doesn't get used. And inside the door lock are the tumblers. The tumblers get stuck. The key doesn't find them. Nothing happens. Once you lubricate them, they start to move up and down like they're supposed to. That's a whole nother thing for another day. Some people would love to see how a tumbler works, because those little notches in your key basically are like a piano. As it goes across, beep, 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 they move up and down, just like inside of a piano, and make the key allow it to move. So kind of neat. I'm sure somebody on YouTube's already done that video, but that would be a cool one so you guys could see it. But here's a 1979 truck with the door part. The 80s models are very similar inside, hardly any different as far as the working mechanisms go. It looks a little bit different when you don't have power locks and power windows, but aside from that, very similar in the same. So this is a very unusual one. If you haven't caught on or you didn't see the video yesterday, it is a two-tone tan and brown truck with factory blue interior. And if you didn't see it yesterday, open the glove box. I'm not going to disturb what he's doing here, but in the glove box it actually shows the blue code. Pretty cool. So while we're out here, he also goes under the hood. You need to lube your hood hinges. We'll do that right now, just so you guys can see. Do not ever, every time you're under the hood, every time you change your oil, lubricate your hood hinges. Again, these hinges are different on this year model than on an 80s model. If you do not do this, you're going to have a hood that looks like that TP for Camper Special. It's going to have a V in it. The other day I showed Christian one. We pulled down on it. It was already a little bent. It made it worse. But right here, the hood hinge ends. There's no support. It's going to bend. This hood hinge with this spring is sturdy. It's stiff. It's doing a job. It's holding this big heavy hood up. But if you do not lubricate these, it doesn't take much. WD-40 is perfect. Some people use white lithium spray grease. That's okay too. Again, it's going to run out your fender. You're going to be like, what's my truck leaking? It's leaking WD-40. It's not going to hurt anything. It's also going to keep it from rusting. But this is one of the best little tricks you can possibly do. And again, doesn't hurt to waste it. Use it. Hit both sides. As long as it gets on that little hinge point, the hood will open and close. If you don't do it, you're going to have a buddy on one side and a buddy on the other, and you're going to have to close your hood. If you do it this way, nice. Work it in a little bit, reapplicate it. Is this a workout? Should I be doing it in a tank top? And again, you hit both sides. There's a couple little, any spot that's hingeable or movable, hit it. And if you're really particular, you're doing this in your garage, you don't want it on your floor, put a couple towels down. All you gotta do is put them right there on the inner fender well. It's not gonna go any further. But huge difference. Look at this hood. Doesn't even try to flex, doesn't even try to bend, doesn't do anything weird. Just like it's supposed to. So, also, right here. little bit right there. This is way more important on an 80s model where it has a hood latch inside. This right here is what you're actually moving, in case you never have seen it or tried it once you open your hood, but you're actually moving the first latch and secondary latch. This will be secondary, this will be first. But you're actually moving those items, which is what releases your hood. This piece right here clamps down. This piece is in case you don't clamp it all the way, it lips in right here. Lube that up, it'll open and close much easier, but on the 80s model, you sometimes see me even have to do a little tap tap, lubricating that, and your hood pop working, and sometimes stretching this, which would be up here on the 80s model. Stretch that spring a little bit. You should be able to pull it inside, pop, should pop right open. You shouldn't have to do a little pop pop, but you've seen me have to do it. It does happen. Did you hear the little lift settling? Still got one lift that has not been addressed, so that was that noise in case y'all heard it in the background. But there you go, guys. That's pretty much it while we're addressing things. Striker and bushing, huge deal. That makes the door close so that Christian and AJ don't have to slam it. You can actually close the door like you're supposed to. As long as you've lubricated this, that's nice and fresh. You don't have to put a new one. We always put a new one with a new washer. Looks good, but as long as you have this little bushing here, it's not a brass bushing, it's a plastic bushing, the door will close properly. If this is gone, sometimes it has to be that way depending on how crappy your door alignment is or if it's got aftermarket doors, but if it's factory doors, this truck's original. Original paint, original fitment, original everything. If you have this and a properly lubed door, closed, just like it's supposed to. Whether you close it from here, close it from here, close it from here, it closes like it's supposed to. So a couple little tricks, guys, simple things, but things that go a long way, things that you might not care about when we process a truck, but you know, he'll finish this day out working on this truck. That's another 8-hour day, just like yesterday. 8 hours were spent on this one, almost 9, just to get doors and windows and locks and lubricate everything. A Suburban is far worse because there's more stuff that moves. Even the back window now works that didn't work. When this one's finished, everything's going to open and close, lock and unlock, windows are going to go up and down, everything's going to do what it's supposed to do. Again, you're not going to race that window down, but it's going to go up and down like it's supposed to. So, another Squarebody tip for today. Bring you some more. Not tomorrow, but maybe next week. But that should show you guys a lot of stuff. Take the time. If you got a weekend, you're not doing nothing, pop your door panels off, lubricate everything, hit your hood. Doesn't take long once you get the hang of it, but take your time and do it while it's apart. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.